Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Marta Fernández de Alarcón. I am the Secretary General of the Spanish Business Council, and I want to welcome you to this webinar about the ultimate guide to insurance in the UAE, save money and stay covered by 7 insurance brokers. This webinar is led by Kelly Montoya. She's Medical and General Insurance Director at Seven's Insurance Brokers. In this session, Kelly will guide you through the essentials of insurance policies, including how health insurance works in the UAE, and also understanding underwriting terms, which is very important here. What to look for a policy in a policy, customizing your coverage, etc. So, Kelly, thank you so much for your collaboration today and support. I give you the floor. Let's start. I don't want to waste time to your speech. Okay. After the webinar, after Kelly's speech, at the end we will explore a Q&A period. Okay. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Happy to be here. All right, let me share my screen and we can get started. We'll start with imagining this scenario. Imagine that you've worked hard all your life to build your career and your family, and all of a sudden, life throws a curveball at you. And when everything seemed to be right, all of a sudden you have to deal with a divorce. Where do you start with that? Overwhelming amount of things that you have to consider when you're starting life on your own. And then shortly after, if that was not enough, then you get diagnosed with cancer. And shortly after, you have to decide what to do and how to use your insurance, not only as just an insurance policy, but as a lifeline. So picture yourself in that situation. Where do you start? What do you do? And I bring you this story not as a story of doom and gloom, but actually as a testament of strength and resilience, because having good advice throughout your journey could really make a difference. And ultimately, this is the story of a dear client of mine. And I can tell you that throughout this process, not only she was able to overcome these scenarios, but also to thrive. And it's a testament of also of resilience and strength. So this is a story of strength and resilience, where she channeled all her energy into growing her business. We started with a company of 6 employees, and now she's grown over the years. She has over 60 employees now. So truly, insurance can impact not only your personal life, but also your professional life. And like I said, it's more than just a checkbox. It also becomes a lifeline when you least expect it. And this is what insurance is for. So where do we start? From the beginning, right? And this is the parting point, is understanding, for all of us to understand what is insurance. And insurance is a safety net in the case of the unknown, the unforeseen financial risks that may come your way. In this case, through medical expenses. And we can say it's the parachute you put on before you jump off a plane. But I can also tell you that I've gotten a lot of calls in my career of people mid-air after they jump off the plane looking for a parachute. What do you do then? Where do I go? And that's what we're here for. Advisors to help you and guide you in this process to make sure that you have what it's necessary to be protected and covered no matter where life takes you. So with that understanding, we also need to be aware of who are the major stakeholders in the insurance industry and the ecosystem in the UAE, because that would really help us understand the role that we all play in that. So first, we have the regulators, the authorities. We also have the insurance providers, the medical facilities, and the consumers. And with these stakeholders, the whole ecosystem moves. Now, keep in mind, I did not say advisors. Advisors do not play a role on impact price in any ways. On the contrary, we could actually leverage solutions in your behalf. So only these four parties will have an impact in pricing in the overall industry. All right, so let's get into it. First, we need to understand the landscape of regulations in the UAE. The regulatory bodies, overall, the UAE is regulated by the central bank, and it has the best intentions for all of the residents in the UAE. And this is really important because it's the parting point of understanding what type of insurance do I need? Am I going to have a visa in Abu Dhabi? Do I have a golden visa in Dubai? Am I starting a business with a RAC trade license? All of this plays a role in understanding which route to take when it comes to insurance products. Each main city, Abu Dhabi has its own regulatory body, Department of Health, DOH, and in Dubai, we have the Dubai Health Authorities. And based on their mandates and their requirements, insurance providers need to design a plan that will deliver all of those for us as consumers, as residents of the UAE. So sometimes it is important to understand all of this before you make a decision. Should I process my new visa in Abu Dhabi or Dubai? What are the pros and cons? What are the differences? Should I start my business out of this free zone or out of this city? And this will then have an impact on the price, because all policies have different price points depending on the regulatory requirements. What needs to be included as a mandate, as a minimum required for the insurance from the authorities. And these could be as big as maternity. In Abu Dhabi, there's a very comprehensive maternity benefit, and it has to be there. We cannot remove it. We cannot play with it. It has to be there. For example, in Dubai, starting this year, all insurance policies will include a 500 dirham benefit for dental. Now, all policies will cover this benefit towards your dental checkups. So just like that, there are many different requirements that the authorities will mandate for insurance providers to include in their offering. Now, another player, like I said, are the insurance providers. And it is important also to understand the difference between international and local insurance providers. And this is not to specifically talk about the type of cover that they offer, but who they are as an organization. I guarantee you, if you drive down a road in Europe, you are bound to run into an office with the Allianz sign, an Allianz office. You have seen this sign, this logo in many places when you travel. It would be much harder to find a Sakun or a Takaful office somewhere in Europe. And what this means is that their workforce, it's located in the region, mostly in the UAE. And therefore, the way that they can support you and the offer that they have for their clients, it's tailored to their business. Now, companies like Allianz, Bupa, Cigna, they have significantly larger reach, larger pockets. So they're able to look at risk, they're able to look at the business in a different way, and they approach it differently. And therefore, they're able to give you a different value proposition. So this is also very important because on paper, insurance plans may look very similar. International cover versus international cover, same network, same benefits. What's the difference? And the difference, it's who is the insurance provider backing up that insurance plan. So once again, important point to understand what you will be getting in terms of service. And when major things happen, what are the expectations and how can they support me? If I am traveling on the other side of the globe and I need assistance, will Daman have a line where I can call, in the middle of the night from Peru, So it's are the nuances that are important to understand when you're making an insurance decision. So these are the insurance providers. And like I said, they need to comply with all the regulations that the authorities mandate. Okay, now we move on to designing your policy. And this is a very dynamic piece of understanding how we can leverage all of the components of the insurance plan, the design of the plan, so then we can get the most out of it. So where do we start with this? First, what is the risk size? Who are you in terms of your insurance needs? Are you a family or an individual just looking for a policy? I just got married. I'm looking to start a policy for my family. We're going to have kids in the near future. We need maternity. It's just me. I'm a solopreneur. I just need an insurance policy starting my entrepreneurship journey. Also, in the same group, we have micro SMEs, companies that have 2 to 10 employees. And they are evaluated. This group of people are evaluated, and the offer is specific to that group size. So it's really important to understand the journey of growth and what you can get as your company is growing. If we have 10 employees, but next year we have 11 employees, 11, it's the magic number when it comes to insurance. Once you hit 11 employees, then we step into the SME space. And that allows you to then have more leverage to negotiate and get different solutions, a much broader range of solutions when it comes to SME. And just like that, when we move on from 150 employees onwards, then you move into the corporate side. And then the risk is analyzed differently once again, and the offer will be different. So it is important to understand this to know what will come next. Okay, so business size is important for mostly underwriting terms. So your plan is designed based on the underwriting terms, what kind of questions they're going to ask so they can, the insurance provider, so they can arrive at a price that makes sense for the type of risk that we're bringing on their table. And in insurance terms, we have full medical underwriting, and this means you have to disclose all your medical conditions. Now, this is an important point because this is not, so medical underwriting, it's a standard kind of approach to, for families. You're supposed to declare all your medical conditions because in the UAE, as per the mandate, medical conditions must be covered. Internationally, the way insurance works, today, your insurance policy starts. Moving forward, we'll continue covering all the conditions that come up. The unforeseen events, we will cover those. But anything that happened in the past, those will be up to you to self-insure. In the UAE, that's not possible. Medical conditions must be declared and they must be covered. So therefore, there is a full medical questionnaire that needs to be answered in order for the insurers to determine what would be the cost of your policy. Do you come with a cancer case? Then at that point, how would we have to price this in order for us to cover you? Because you come with a cancer case. Do you take are you diabetic? Do you take medicine on a regular basis? Do you have an autoimmune disorder? Do you have physiotherapy sessions coming up? All of these things that have happened in the past need to be evaluated in order for them to be covered in the future. That's part of the design of the policies in the UAE. Now, medical history disregarded starts for companies of 11 employees and above. This is once again because the group size and the risk pool, it's able to leverage the pricing. So at this point, major conditions sometimes need to be declared, but overall, if you've been going to physiotherapy and now you just need to continue your treatment, that's not going to be a point of conversation. It's not going to impact your price. And medical history disregarded, it's mostly for groups. Then when we move on to large corporates, then the underwriting terms will be based on claims experience. What does that mean? If you are a larger organization with over 150 lives or employees, they will look at your claims behavior. How much have you been claiming in the past couple of years? What is your claims history? Do you have anything ongoing that's major? And at that point, they will tailor the pricing to your particular pool risk, your company, your organization, and the health of your employees. So these are the pathways in order for you to arrive at the terms for your insurance policy. Okay, moving on. Plan design. So we have a few points, and I hear this often. I don't need a couple $1 million for my hospitalization. 1 million is enough. Or I don't need vaccinations. I don't travel, or I don't need them anymore, or I don't have kids, whatever it is. And sometimes we don't understand what drives the cost. And most of the time, when we think about these large amounts, when we see in a table of benefits, oh, wow, I'm getting 36 million dirhams for my inpatient treatments, we tend to think that this is going to drive the cost up. However, what truly drives the cost up, it's the cost of the consultations, what we use on a daily. So when it comes to hospitalization side of things, this is what insurance is for, what truly insurance is for. In the case of the major events of medical necessities, the insurance will pay for all of those, and they're very generous when it comes to that. Now, when we're talking about consultations and what we use on a daily, that is what has the biggest impact in cost and pricing. So it is important to make that switch, that for the major needs, you will always be covered, and that portion will not impact price. But when it comes to what we use the most, that's where we can then start becoming creative as to what can we put in place in order for us to create either cost containment or reduce the cost. So one of the main points is the coinsurance. This is the shared cost. So when you are going to the doctor, are you paying 50 dirhams for your consultation? Are you paying 100 dirhams, or are you paying nothing out of pocket? This will have a domino effect on the way we, on the insurance price, the insurance policy. So the more we share the cost of what we take out of the insurance, the more that we can reduce the premium that we pay up front. So we're talking about coinsurance and deductibles. Sometimes it's not just for the consultation. Am I willing to bet that I am healthy enough that I'm not going to use this insurance too much? And if I was to need it once a year, maybe need some blood tests and maybe an x-ray, a scan, something like that, I'm okay paying for 10% of all of my outpatient treatments, my diagnostics, my pharmacy. So if I'm okay with that understanding, then my price upfront will be lower. So deductibles and coinsurances are a shared cost that can start reducing the price of your policy. And the same thing applies for organizations. If you think about having your employees with zero coinsurances, you just show up at your consultation, everything is paid, nothing out of your pocket. Now, if you had to pay 100 dirhams every time you go to the doctor, would the insurance be used in the same manner? Would people think twice and say, I'm actually not that ill? I'm okay, I'm not going to go to the doctor. I just need Panadol, or I just need a good night's rest. And then this starts impacting the claims behavior. And therefore, as an organization or a larger organization, you can use this as a cost containment for a more long-term partnership with your insurance providers in the insurance policy that you have in place. So although it might seem minute, it's a very important point to keep in mind. Obviously, as a consumer, if my employer says, oh, I have to pay 100 dirhams, no, I'd rather pay nothing. But ultimately, it's for the greater good in order for the organization to maintain a high standard of service, good policy that can, be with the organization, offered to the organization for a long time. Okay, so I already touched on the inpatient and the outpatient. And as we know, the inpatient portion does not have a big of an impact on the price. It's the outpatient. What I mean by outpatient, it's when you go in and out of the doctor's office, in and out of the hospital, if you do a blood test, if you need an x-ray, if you need a physio session, all of those things that are outpatient treatments are what drive the cost up. And I'll keep developing on this point as we move on. And then the last point would be the add-ons. Like I said, do I need maternity? Do I need optical? alternative medicine. And as we start adding all these wishes and wants and the things that I would prefer to have, then the price needs to be adjusted accordingly. Most likely, if I include maternity in my policy, it's because I actually need it. And therefore, it's going to be a secure claim in the next 1 to 2 years, and what would be the cost of that maternity, best and worst case scenario, and how will they price that? Dental, if we add dental, well, now we have 500 dirhams. All of us in the UAE, in Dubai, have 500 dirhams to use towards dental needs. But will I have a root canal soon? Do I need x-rays? Do I need, then that's how the insurance price starts going up, with all the things that we know we're going to use it for, because these are not unforeseen, right? These are planned that we know we're going to take advantage of, and therefore the price will reflect accordingly. Okay. Now, this is an important one, because everything I'm saying is important. It's part of this whole big picture of insurance pricing. And the power of the network, it's truly because it's twofold. One, it will determine the satisfaction that you have with your insurance policy. Let's say we have a basic design of a policy, a little bit of this, hospitalization, consultation, just overall, simple insurance plan, no bells and whistles, no. But if I get to use this insurance plan in the hospital that I prefer, the one that's next to my home, I will significantly feel the difference than if I had to drive 30 minutes to the nearest facility that the insurance will cover. And overall, it will start impacting the satisfaction, the way I feel about the insurance. Oh, here we go again. My doctor, I wish I could go to this hospital next to my house, but I have to drive all the way over there. And this is very tangible in companies. When you have a network that does not meet your employees' needs, it's something that, once again, impacts the satisfaction. The overall plan, the benefits of the policy, the insurer, all of this could be great. But if the network does not reflect what you personally want or need, or your employees, then it's a point of conversation. It's something that will impact the decision-making. Now, this is a double-edged sword. Why? Because just like that, having the network that covers everyone in the city is costly. Why? Because if you want to have a consultation at the American Hospital, Cleveland Clinic in Abu Dhabi, MediClinic Group, the price point for a consultation there is significantly higher if we're talking about in comparison to Canadian hospital, if we're talking about Iranian hospital, Aster clinics, very different. So it is always the matter of finding a balance between what we want and what we need, what we are willing to pay for. This, if you're going to take anything away from this conversation, will be pay attention to your network. Are you overpaying? Is the network the reason why you're not happy with your insurance? If you were to adjust that, can you find a middle ground where you feel like you can actually take advantage of your insurance happily and at the same time pay the right price? So very, very important. Now, these price points are completely driven by the medical facilities. These are the other players and stakeholders in the ecosystem of insurance. Whatever the medical facilities tell you in terms of what's the cost of a consultation, how much do you have to pay for a pharmacy, how many tests do you need, all of that has a trickle-down effect that will impact price, and ultimately it will reflect in the premium that we pay. So paying attention to the network is essential. When we talk about networks, we also have to talk about third-party administrators. I guarantee you, most of you have heard of MetNet, NextCare, Neuron, NAF, and there's many more. These are the main ones here. And I hear a lot, my insurance is with MetNet. I have Neuron as my insurance provider. And there is a little bit of a confusion. These are simply third-party administrators that sit in the middle and that manage the claim in the hospital networks for the insurance providers. So the experience based is based on the insurance guidelines. If you were to have a MetNet policy with X insurance provider, this insurance provider will say, make sure you only approve this. These are the guidelines for that. Ask these questions. The experience will be based on that. Yet, if you have insurance provider B here, and they have much broader, flexible, open way of interpreting and using your insurance, then your experience will be significantly different. So it is important to know that it is about the insurance provider, not the third-party administrator that tells you that your claim is approved or it's not approved. This is not as per their wishes and wants. It's as per the guidelines that they receive from the insurance providers. And then all of this trickles down to us, the consumers. Am I waiting 30 minutes for an approval? Am I waiting 30 hours for an approval? What's the reasoning behind? And some of these could be, once again, insurance guidelines, but also the efficiency in the way they integrate with all the systems and the way that they go about it. So it's really important to just overall understand that your third-party administrators are simply the middleman that are helping the insurance providers handle their claims and their approvals and their reimbursements. And all of these not work with just one. They're partnered with several different insurance providers. So they're not the insurance providers, they're just the middlemen. Okay. Now, we can bring it all together. And this is a good time to put into perspective, what would it be like now to make decisions now that I have this baseline of information, right? If I was to be in my client's situation where I am transferring insurance policies, what kind of decisions would I make differently? Now that I know that there's more to it, would I be able to find the right information and ask for the right questions and help to get to where I need to get? So insurance authorities have the best intentions in mind and have mandated for insurance policies to be very comprehensive in the UAE. That is something that the insurance providers have to adhere to and deliver. And that cost is mostly driven by the pricing of the medical facilities in the UAE. How much do the insurance providers have to pay for all of these costs? But ultimately, it boils down to my personal responsibility of how I'm using my insurance provider, my insurance policy, and our employees. How are we using this? Is this a credit card that I can just show up and get everything covered? Or is this a point of, or an opportunity for me to question, do I really need to take 16, a shopping list like this long of different medicines? Do I have to spend all this time and energy getting endless amount of tests? Because all of this has a cost attached to it. And then there is a domino effect in terms of what will the price for the insurance be at renewal. Insurance is a 12-month contract in the UAE where you constantly renew and you constantly have to revisit that topic every 12 months. So how do we use these 12 months to advance, to find the solution that will adjust to our price point, to our needs, to our growth? For organizations, having the right insurance policy would really be a tool for growth, to attract the right candidates, to keep your employees happy and healthy and happy. So these are the major points to keep in mind to understand how we move forward. Now, here is a quick checklist in order for you to be able to make decisions in the future. 1, understand your needs and your wants. They're not necessarily the same, and these have a price attached to them. There are minimum requirements that we cannot avoid and overlook. There are wants that we can compromise on. There are wants that we must protect. If my doctor is at the American hospital and I feel comfortable and confident every time I go get a consultation there, it's not beyond a want. It's a necessity for me to be able to have the type of care that I wish for. And therefore, it's something that I have to set my expectations of what would be the cost of my policy to cover American Hospital. So having that clear understanding, now that you know what goes into price, review your wants and needs and wishes in order for you to then decide what's next. Then you set a realistic budget based on that. Can I afford? Can I plan for? So in the future, I can get to the insurance that I want. Literally, insurance is like buying a car. There's no shortcut to it. It's literally like buying a car. Do I have a budget for a Kia? Do I have a budget for a BMW? Do I want to go with a Bentley? The experience is completely different every time I, set out to drive from point A to B. They will all take me there, but it's a very different experience. And where am I willing to compromise? And what's the price point for that particular experience, for that particular product? So insurance is exactly it. And there is no way to manipulate and maneuver the purchase of a Bentley for the price of a Kia, a Toyota Corolla, right? So setting a realistic budget, it's a very important point as well. So we can be realistic about the solutions. Then the next thing would be the strategic plan comparison. Now that we have all this information in mind, are the plans that I'm comparing ticking all the boxes for our particular needs and wants, for the growth of our organization, where we're going in the future? Then you can have more tangible, educated decision-making in front of you when you have options to look at. And like I said, the network. If you want to save money, if you want to really see premiums change, look at your network and be creative in the way you go about your network. So network is of the essence, like I said earlier, pay attention to that. Take a look at your list of hospitals, discover new facilities that might be able to fit your needs, but they aren't just the top 3 popular names that we all hear everyone talk about. And then ultimately, like I said, leverage the advice of a professional. Have someone holding your hand and telling you, wait, don't jump. Here's your parachute. This is why you need it. And this is not just on the medical side. Every range of insurance options. You can leverage the market inside. It's a very dynamic industry that is constantly changing. Like I said, just at the beginning of this year, brand new thing, dental for everyone. And just like that, every so often there are changes. And it's important to have someone that can hold your hand and shine the light of where there might be a gap for your business, for your family. What can you do? What's the outcome of this decision? What will happen in 12 months from now? And how do you protect your family? And how do you start walking in the right path that will then cover your needs for years to come? Because like I said, insurance, when it's just a sheet in front of you, it's a tick box. It's just something that you have to do. It's mandatory in the UAE. Let's just do it. But when the real time comes to using your insurance, you understand that there's no amount of money that you would pay to see your loved ones get the best treatment and for them to recover and get subsequent support throughout a journey of health. Health is wealth. Ultimately, that's what we're investing in, right? Okay, so I hope I've made the information digestible enough for you to have good enough takeaways. But what I do want now is to ask some questions. How can I help you? What are you going through right now that I can give you my 2 cents so you can have something tangible and go home and go back to work and start putting the wheels in motion? So super happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
Yes.
Let's see the first question. Can you provide more info on international Cigna versus local Daman insurance providers, advantages and disadvantages?
I can certainly do that. I guess for the purpose of general knowledge, all insurance have their differentiators and their unique selling points per se. But there are two different organizations. Daman is a semi-government entity and it's a large provider in the UAE with a great presence, and they really can serve, especially the Abu Dhabi market. They're excellent. And like I said, all insurance providers are able to provide you a full plan that will cover you anywhere in the world with all of the bells and whistles, but ultimately boils down with their global presence, with their experience in the industry. Cigna is a company that has been around for a long time and has had global presence, and therefore they're able to provide you that extra support, truly in the truly international sense of the word, no matter where you are. Also, they're a very agile company, forward thinking. They're very intrigued and supportive by wellness. So the proactive approach of insurance instead of the reactive approach of insurance. Therefore, there are just completely different players. And once again, if you were to go down to the details, then you start seeing the nuances of how they show up in the value proposition that they have. So I would definitely group them in as an international global provider, a local, a regional player, and once again, workforce has a lot to do with it and how they're able to serve you. So by being a significantly smaller in comparison, Daman, then therefore the pricing structure will reflect accordingly the service and overall offering.
Okay, good. How can we contact you for a family policy?
Yes. While we're having this, I will leave this here so you guys see my details. You can send me an email. We have a team that can support you not only with your individuals, but also your group needs. And beyond that, we can offer a full suite of solutions. Now that we're here, since you guys asked first, I wanted to offer, I have 3 available slots in May for a full business audit for all insurance lines. So, and the first 3 people to contact me, I'll be super happy to sit down and do a full analysis and audit of all of your insurance needs and gaps, and give you some takeaways. And then also, if anyone wants a condensed version of the main secrets for cost containment, I'll be happy to send you a document that you can use as a reference point. So this is just there. But I just kind of jumped ahead. If we can have more questions, happy to answer
Yes,
them.
next, because you have lots. So
Okay, sorry, I was not looking at the...
How can I offer the policy services on my legal and business consultant firm? We handle expats coming to the UAE.
Right. So insurance has to be offered and managed through a licensed entity, right? So it's not something that you can just simply add on. It's heavily regulated. We are heavily regulated. All of the players involved. In this case, I will include advisories in there. So it's something that as information you can absolutely offer in terms of these are the main insurances that you might need when you start a business. But ultimately, it's the matter of finding that helping hand, that collaborative approach of here is someone trusted that will be able to then provide their professional guidance for you to then move on with your business, grow and thrive.
Okay, the next one. Do you have a referral agreement?
Oh, good question. Well, those are not allowed in the UAE. Things have changed significantly. I've been doing insurance in the UAE for 12 years, and the landscape has changed significantly. The way insurance used to be done in the past, you give me the money and I'll pay in your behalf kind of thing, that's long gone. And referral agreements are something that are frowned upon technically, I must say. But it's always, once again, it's the matter of finding the win-win opportunity where we can discover the right way to go about it. Like I said, we're heavily regulated, and where the money goes and who gets paid for what needs to be properly tracked. We get audits all the time. But once again, when it comes to how can I help in terms of that type of referral of I could be your source of information and guidance, my advice is always free. My time, it's a little bit constrained, but my advice is free. And if I can bring help, you can always find an advisor that is willing to support your client's needs.
Okay. Next one is, in case of a cancer, which insurance companies would be able to send you to Spain, for example, to be treated there, if any? What circumstances would approve or disapprove this kind of movements to be treated abroad for a long treatment?
So the first parting point, it's what kind of benefits do you have and what area of cover? Are you being covered globally? Or did you buy a Cigna plan that only covers regionally? So here's, once again, it's a combination of everything. So it's not just the insurance provider. You might have a demand policy with international cover, or you might have a Cigna policy with regional cover. In this case, the demand policy would be the one that would be able to cover you. Now, in which way and fashion? You would have to have guarantee of payments. You would have to have pre-approvals before for you to go and get treatment. There will be potentially limits depending on your list of benefits. And then it would be more of a back and forth transaction on how to get the insurance to cover you all the way in Spain. Now, if you were to have a Cigna policy that covers you globally, then they will have a presence there. They will be able to provide you with a lot more of a localized support. All of the major conditions need guarantees of payment and pre-approval. Let's say if you were going to have a surgery or anything major when it comes to treatment like chemotherapy, radiation, all of those, then you also have to be mindful of what's the oncology benefit for that. And once again, it's the matter of doing the exercise of going through all the details and understanding, okay, does this serve the purpose in the case that I want to have my treatment in Spain, in Germany, in France? So it's a very personal thing, and whatever brings you peace of mind, it's a matter of understanding what path you have to go through. But ultimately, if your insurance policy says that it's an international benefit, international area of cover worldwide, then you would be able to get some sort of cover. Like I said, the experience might vary, but you will be able to get the cover in the country that you wish.
Okay, thank you. The next one is, if we are already at Cigna in Spain, could we get any special rates if using Cigna in Dubai, or are independent companies?
Excellent. Well, because of what I explained in terms of how the plants are designed and regulated in the UAE, they operate somewhat independently. The pricing is independent. It's not something that you would be able to transfer. There are perks of staying with the insurance provider, depending on the provider. If you were to, let's say, bring your Bupa policy from the UK here, and then from here to, I don't know, Germany, wherever it is. But there's also caveats. Sometimes underwriting will apply again, like, oh, thanks for staying with us, but now we need to go as per our requirements and regulations, and therefore we need to ask you all those full medical questionnaire, like, what is your health history like, so we can then price you and cover you as per the UAE requirements. So pricing wise, there's nothing significant in terms of like savings or tidbits. On the contrary, it might go up because, like I said, in the UAE, it's very comprehensive. Policies are very, very comprehensive, and therefore the price is a little bit higher.
Thank you. Next one is, how could an immigration consultancy establish some kind of alliance with a company that provides health insurance policies in our potential clients?
Right. Like I said, the referral agreements are something that we do on an advisory side of things, in terms of like, we are able to advise and guide your clients. And now when it comes to getting a piece of, because we're heavily regulated, that's something that is not allowed nowadays. It's not a common practice anymore. The central bank is actively looking at where the money goes when it comes to insurance, who is getting paid for what. And unless you are a licensed professional, you would not be able to get a paid, like a chunk of it per se, a commission, a fraction of it. So ultimately, it's the matter of understanding what the relationship is like and what we're trying to get out of it, and to what degree. So it's something that we're always willing to have a conversation about, look at the big picture and how can we go about it, in which way we can show up and provide value, and create a win-win environment. But when it comes to actually paying part of it, it's a difficult conversation, but always willing to sit down and have these conversations. Please reach out. We can go into more details and more specifics and explore solutions. And you never know, maybe we can find something that works for us.
Okay, next one is, how is Bupa insurance? Is there any budget reference for full coverage for a family of 4 in Dubai?
Um, Bupa Bupa is a major player when it comes to insurance globally. And for insurance purposes, we always call them the ABC in no particular order: Allianz, Bupa, Cigna. These three are the top players in the industry, and they are very good. They are really, really good. They have so much experience, and they bring, especially Bupa brings a layer of exclusivity to what they do. They are very mindful of the type of brand they have, and also the type of experience that they want to give their clients. So it's a very high-end product, and the price reflects accordingly. I could give you a quote. I could give anyone a quote for any plan, whether you're a company or an individual or a family, it doesn't matter. And you will see it's a side-by-side comparison where you can then start seeing once again the nuances of each plan. But yeah, Bupa's a great provider, and I'd be super happy to give you an actual comparison for you to see the price points and to see what's flexible, what can be changed, add, removed, and see if you can find what you're looking for.
Okay. Next one, is there any advantage? Is there any advantage if you are in demand, for example, and then your family come to get for them local tourism insurance? We always have doubts if it's better some local insurance for tourism or directly more international known such as Mafre or AXA.
Right. So when it comes to travel insurance, it's always advisable to get it before you travel. That's the right way of doing it. So before you have family coming over, get travel insurance. Now, travel insurance is travel insurance. Does it have a little bit of medical? Yes, it does. You could use it in the case of, it could help out. Is it medical insurance? No, it's not. So then I would have to ask so many more questions to understand what would be the right plan for the right situation. Like I said, your credit cards have these supplemental kind of bits and bobs that can contribute towards a situation, but they're not really designed to provide full cover. Is your family coming for 3 months? Is your family coming for 2 weeks? Or is the intention to have them here for a short period of time and then move them into a permanent visa? What's the reasoning? What is your demand policy like? Are you insured with a group? Are you insured personally? Is your company allowing for dependents to be added? Because even if you're a demand, it's an excellent choice. If the mandate of your HR says, sorry, we only cover employees and not dependents, then you're left to your own device. Just get your own insurance. So it goes beyond the most like upfront question: is it this one or that one? Why would it be this one or that one? So if you want more info, happy to guide you. But I would say when it comes to travel, get it before you travel. So the MAPFRE, AXA, any of those, they're pretty much designed the same. Go for one of those before they travel here.
Okay, thank you. The next one, I have I have the two the chat and the question and answer. So maybe if we try to write only in one of them. Can you give a rough range of policy pricing for average expand conditions?
Okay, so when it comes to pricing, it depends once again on our group size. If we're talking about a company, what's the size? And then the price will be, reflecting of your size. If we're talking about individual. Now, if we're talking about getting a good policy that covers you internationally, that gives you peace of mind in the case you want to travel back to your home country and get treatment, whether it's a surgery, whether it's, chemo, whether it's giving birth. Oh, I want to give birth back home where all my family is. Big or small, it doesn't matter. If we're talking about that, then we're talking approximately a range between 7 to 10, depending on the age. Also, it's another very important metric to decide pricing. Are we insuring a 17-year-old, 25, 45, 60-year-old? Are you female? Are you male? Because it impacts price. So a range, I would say, for a good policy is around 10,000 dirhams per person. This is the starting point. Obviously, you have many options with significantly lower pricing. But does this give you peace of mind? Are we willing to compromise and say, yes, this is good enough for me. I am happy with all the marks on this policy. It's a very personal decision, not only for a family, but also for a group. What are we striving for as a group? Are we using this as a tool to keep our employees happy and attract new talent? Is it just a checkbox? So this is just out of the blue a price, but once again, the beauty of this is that it's so tailorable. If you have more specific questions, I'll be able to give you a more personalized comparison if you like.
Good, thank you. What insurance company do you recommend to have a normal coverage, good attention, and a not expensive prima payment?
How long is a piece of string, right? Like which one? There are so many with so many combinations. And I would say nowadays in the local space, Takaful Amarat has been doing a great job at having a very seamless process. Once again, we have to look into the details. Are the details of this policy good enough for you? Are you feeling confident with what you have and what you're paying for? Because remember, it's like buying a car. There's no shortcuts. So if this is the price, are we okay going all the way to Abu Dhabi in a Kia, in a little Toyota Corolla? Like, is that okay? Am I okay with this? I like it. Fine. If you like it, I like it. But it's ultimately looking at the fine print and all the details. Like I said, we've been very impressed by the administration of Takaful, but just like that, there are so many other providers that if you were to do a creative solution in terms of benefits, you could go with a Cigna policy in a similar price range, but where are we compromising? So once again, very personalized, reach out, happy to give you a very tailored comparison for you.
Okay, good. The next one is, there's a specific travel insurance company do you recommend for the first period of time, 1 month, while we get the residence visa?
Travel insurance while you're in Dubai already, it's tricky. Once again, the insurance needs to be in place before you travel, right? Because like I said at the beginning, before you jump off the plane, we need to have a parachute. And this is a good example. So if it's travel, it's in the case of what will happen, the unforeseen events before you travel, it has to be in place. Now, when you are here already having that interim travel insurance, I wouldn't be able to recommend anything that will be able to to put in place before after you've traveled. But once again, it depends. What's the timeline? Are you going to be processing your visa in a week? Are you going to be here as a tourist for 3 months? And then what kind of solution? So once again, it's important to know beforehand, what are the steps that we're going to take? Reach out. I can give you info.
Thank you. The next one is it possible to become a health insurance advisor in Dubai? And what is the process like?
Yes. So ultimately, the advising journey depends on who do you affiliate with in terms of a company. And sometimes a lot of people start with an administration job, and that's how they understand the industry. Then there are certifications that are required in order for you to then solidify your advice and your journey as an advisor. And ultimately, you have to be registered with the authorities so you are able to provide advice and be held accountable. And so it's a doable, absolutely. Happy to share the journey and mentorship and anything that you might need that you might find useful. It really depends. But once again, CII, it's the certification that it's the most common one here in this side of the world for you to advise.
Okay. The next one is a DESLAS considered international too, and is it recommended here?
Is it what? Can you repeat that again?
Is a DESLAS considered international too, and is it recommended here? A DESLAS is a Spanish. I'm not sure if you.
Well, here you go. I am not familiar with this insurance provider. There are so many. That's why I say there's like endless options and solutions. It will not be a compliant plan. I can guarantee you that. If I don't know about it, is they will not be compliant. A lot of people bring their international plan into the country and they use it. Hey, I'm paying back home. I know what I get. When I go back home, I can use it. It brings me peace of mind. But when it comes to using it here for visa purposes, for compliant purposes, for business, for hiring, it will not be compliant. It will not meet the minimum requirements that the authorities mandate, and therefore it will not serve its purpose in the UAE. As an insurance provider, an insurance policy, yeah, you can have it. You can continue paying it, wherever it comes from, but in the UAE it will not be sufficient.
Okay, thank you. The next one is, do you have a calendar link you can share? I'd like to talk about my own personal situation.
I can certainly put my link. I can.
I
Let's
think
see.
you have the option here in the webinar chat. Maybe you
Yes,
can.
sorry. Let me stop sharing and I can get the calendar link. I will share a 30-minute calendar link for you guys to block my time anytime. Like I said, my advice is always free. Finding the time is the tricky part, but I would be super happy to guide everyone. I do have a full team that can support you. Equally as passionate professionals that can answer all your questions and guide you. For all the Spanish-speaking community, we do have a lot of people that speak Spanish. So if that makes your life easier, you prefer it, we have advisors that speak Spanish. Okay, here you go, a calendar link, 1 second. Yeah, so actually, yes, this would make things very easy for everyone to book my time and reach out. And here we go. It's in the webinar chat.
Good. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much. So I think everything was very clear. Thank you so much for this amazing information and this amazing webinar. And anytime that someone wants to talk to you, maybe they can contact directly. Okay.
Absolutely.
In some days we will upload this webinar to our YouTube channel. So you will have I think for sure you will have lots of visits because this is a very interesting subject. Okay.
I
So
am super passionate about it. I hope it reflects that I really like what I do. And if I can help, then I will love it even more. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here and listening.
thank you so much.
Thank you.